This is the Fifth Estate Winning Headlines, your media police post, coming to you from the Fort Hall School of Government from Nairobi, Kenya. In this segment, we summarize some of the headlines that you may have missed this morning. We also take a look at the political pieces that we call cartoons in this country. Today is the 5th of October 2022, and my name is GK.
I am MC Squared.
And I am 2J, and in case you missed today's headlines, here they are. In the Daily Nation, MUSEVENI moves to tame wild sun. In the Standard, deadlock in Ruto-Raila power battle. The Star, new DCI tells off DP Gachagua over investigation style. And in the People Daily, clock ticks for CBK governor. So as we said, we are now on the 22nd day into the Ruto presidency, and we shall be here every day to give you a little bit of analysis and context that is missing from our friends in the Fourth Estate. MC Squared, why don't you kick us off today?
Thank you. The August 22 election was the most peaceful election in this country. That's a fact. It was not just peaceful politically, but our economy was very stable as well. And the question I ask today is why? Why was our economy not disrupted? When history has taught us that every election brings country to its knees. And I ask this because Kenya has paid dearly to have new leaders in the past elections. In 1992, we lost 248 billion shillings. In 2002, we lost 140 billion shillings.
Whoa.
In 2007, we lost 200 billion shillings. In 2013, we also lost 10 billion. And in 2017, we lost 1.1 trillion.
Wow.
In an election that we held for 123 days.
Yep.
That is a total of 1.7 trillion, more than half the money we give to our county government. In fact, in the last 10 years. But in 2022, the year of Rigiji, things were different. Why? And in our view, two things must have happened. Number one, Kenyans were finally tired of elections causing a standstill in their lives. I say this because over 8 million Kenyans did not turn out to vote. This number is 1 million more votes than Ruto got in the 7.1 million votes that he got. And the usual closure of businesses and Kenyans returning to their home counties did not happen. Some have even asked to be removed from the voter register. Indeed, Kenyans were tired.
True.
Number two, the economy finally became a topic of conversation in our politics. In our opinion, economic issues were the main driver of this year's elections. In light of this, we ask if it is possible that country is starting to depart from tribal politics. Is this departure the reason Azimio lost? Because they lacked an alternative to Ruto's Mamamboga economics. And if indeed country has eliminated tribal politics, will the new test for the Ruto administration be economic stability? Already, Gachagua has been corrected by CBK, EACC, and DCI. In fact, just this week, the CBK had to refute Gachagua's claims that there are no foreign reserves. Did Gachagua know he was wrong? Or was it an activity to test the impact of his words? Dear DP Gachagua, you are an honest man. Maybe it is time to use that more Kenya on the economy after all.
Wow.
So true. In fact, that is the topic of two of the headlines today. The Star DCI telling Gachagua off, and the People Daily, the clock ticking for the CBK governor because of Gachagua.
Yeah.
Okay, allow me to switch gears a little bit. And today marks 1 month since the Supreme Court upheld Ruto's presidential win. And since then, one thing has bothered me. I don't know if it bothered you guys as well. And that is, what will the opposition look like in the Ruto administration? Now, in any democracy, the opposition plays a critical role in the political ecosystem. It holds the elected leader to account and ensures that his policies benefit everybody, not just the ones who voted for him. It protects those who did not vote for William Ruto, all 14 plus million of them.
Yeah.
And by the way, that is more than 60% of the voter register.
Yeah.
No opposition equals no democracy. It's that simple. And perhaps President Ruto knows as much. He told country that he will create an enabling environment for a strong opposition to thrive. But in the same breath, he welcomed members of the opposition to jump ship and join him. Brilliant politics, yes. But is it good for country? We cannot give Ruto all the credit in this. I mean, politics is about give and take, and Azimio has failed to cement itself as a strong force to hold Ruto to account. This is because Azimio must come to terms with a simple truth. The face of the opposition for the last 2 decades in this country has been one man whose name is Raila Odinga. But not even Jacom himself can run away from Father Time. His slow exit is leaving behind a vacuum that no one has so far proved ready to fill. This has weakened the opposition. And so we must not only ask who will fit into Raila's shoes, we must also ask why historically in Kenya, the opposition has been embodied by a few individuals. In our view, the issue lies with our constitution. It does not adequately empower the opposition. This has made the opposition become a personality contest in this country. It lives and fades with the leaders of the day, whether Raila, Matiba, or Jaramogi. Now, Reggae, aka BBI, was the answer to this. It sought to create an official leader of the opposition role, therefore empowering it to hold the leader to account. That being said, if Ruto truly believes in the need for a strong opposition, he will place BBI in new gift wrapping, make some cosmetic changes, tie a ribbon on it, and get it passed. We must remember that the opposition cannot stand alone in holding a president to account. It is a collective responsibility shared with the fourth estate and with civil society, both of whom have quite frankly been asleep. They must stand up. Otherwise, if a leader's power goes unchecked, who knows what could happen?
Very scary stuff. So now, yesterday, we explained how William Ruto chose his cabinet nominees, and that the primary reasons were based on rewarding loyalty, ensuring regional balance, and pleasing his Kenya Kwanza coalition. And on this, we say, bravo, Mr. President, you have done a good job.
Indeed.
And while Ruto's selection, in our opinion, is largely inexperienced, we can say that he has heeded the advice of Niccolo Machiavelli to reward loyalty instead of looking for competence. And maybe this is what plagued the Uhuru administration. He was surrounded by competent men and women who were often disloyal to his cause. The final step in this process, of course, is Parliament's approval, which shouldn't be difficult. After all, Chapter 6 of the Constitution is dead. So if we are to call Ruto's cabinet the front office of his government, let us explore the back office. Because there is always a back office.
Always.
And in the study of governance and power sharing, this is typically called the kitchen cabinet. Now, this term comes from the opponents of US President Andrew Jackson to describe his collection of unofficial advisors. And they were called the kitchen cabinet because they would often gather for meetings in the White House kitchen. And because of this perceived intimacy, Jackson's opponents had a problem with this group's influence over the president, particularly on matters of party and patronage. Plain and simple, these advisors were more interested in the transactional relationship they could extract from the president, as opposed to contributing to good decision making. Now today, a presidential kitchen cabinet has less of a negative connotation, but its purpose remains the same. A small circle of friends and business partners who hold no official office, but hold all the real power. So the question before us, what kind of kitchen cabinet has William Ruto cultivated? Who are the players and the power brokers? And ultimately, are they good for country? Now, one thing is for sure, This kitchen cabinet is transactional in nature. And this is not a bad thing. In fact, one can make an argument for transactional politics as a way to get stuff done. In a country where only 40% of the voter base actually chose Ruto, as GK told us, there has to be a way to keep the remaining 60% happy. And that is precisely how transactional politics can work. So, if Ruto's front office cabinet is the face of the hustler nation, polished and all, then his back office kitchen cabinet is the deal-making, handshakes, and compromise. It may also be the place where millionaires become billionaires. Who knows? The result may be what is known as a spoils system, derived from the phrase, to the victor belong the spoils. Because Kenya Kwanza fought to win the presidency, and I guess they deserve to enjoy the reward. And the truth is, Azimio would have done the exact same thing had they won.
Exactly.
So, on that note, we have a 3-part criteria that we use to judge the headlines by. We ask ourselves, is this headline topical or speculative, repetitive or groundbreaking, and finally, thoughtful or just plain lazy? I think we discussed briefly the Star and the People Daily, both two independent institutions being called out for seemingly calling out the DP. In the Star, we have the DCI telling off Gachagua, and that's because the new head of the DCI says that they will not stop probing cases. And the second, the governor, as MC Squared told us, because he called or he refuted what Gachagua said. Good headlines. I want to suggest we toss them though. Yes.
Okay. All of them?
Yes, all of them.
Okay.
That leaves us with the Daily Nation and the Standard. The Daily Nation, Museveni moves to tame his wild son. I think we'll address that in the cartoons.
In the cartoons,
Right? Deadlock in Ruto-Raila power battle. This is because we're unable to decide who the majority party in parliament is.
It's a bit of back and forth.
Back and forth, indeed. I want to suggest we give the winning headline to the Standard and discuss Museveni's rogue son in the cartoons.
I agreed, because the cartoons all touch on it. I think the Standard does make sense.
Okay, so on that, we have a winning headline from the Standard. On to the political pieces that we call cartoons in this country, where we also have a 3-part criteria. We ask ourselves, are the cartoons humorous or dry, satirical or pessimistic, and finally, effective or just plain lazy? How about we begin with the Daily Nation, MC Squared?
Here we have a caricature of General Muhoozi Kainerubaga, the son of President Museveni, playing hopscotch. Muhoozi is illustrated as a big baby. He's wearing a diaper and faints from a nursing bottle. His military cap has the Twitter logo.
And the tweets sort of flying all over.
The Army General threatened to invade Kenya in a series of tweets. As a result, Uganda has removed him from his army role.
He was promoted to
a
general.
A 4-star general.
To a full general.
I honestly thought his account was hacked.
No,
I want to suggest that we look at the Daily Nation cartoon in conjunction with the Star.
Absolutely. Okay, so I'll take that. So you have Yoweri Museveni and his wife Janet Museveni sitting on a couch, and they're looking back on the other side of the couch, and they're seeing a baby, a baby Muhoozi, similar to the Daily Nation, sort of on his phone tweeting. And next to him, you have all these toy soldiers and toy cannons and all these things. And the quote there is, "I told you he needs new toys to play with." So this thing has completely taken over the country's attention, rightfully so, to be honest. And even Museveni had to go out on Twitter and apologize for the actions, that the things that were said in the last few days.
You know, he told us he'll not interfere with our internal matters. I didn't know his son would be the one
to do so. And that brings up a good point, MC Squared. I think a lot of people are misunderstanding Muhoozi's move. I think that by the time he was making all those tweets, he was aware that he was going to be promoted to become a general. And I think Kenyans are taking this far too seriously. I think Muhoozi was saying a lot of this in jest.
He was having some fun.
If you look at his tweets days before, he was doing the same thing to Italy. You know, he posted a picture of the newly elected prime minister and said how many cows to acquire this woman. And then he said the exact same thing. With my army, we can acquire Rome, the capital, in just a matter of weeks. So I think people are taking this a bit too seriously.
I can't lie, I also fell for that though.
All right, I think we park those two while we look at the Standard, which here is a caricature of President William Ruto and his newly appointed cabinet. And he's walking, pulling a suitcase called New Cabinet. And as he goes on his way, whistling, there are some flies coming out of the suitcase. And you have a picture there of Wanjiku watching in concern and shock. So I think it's quite interesting, the whistling of the deputy, sorry, not the deputy president, my goodness, of the president.
Yeah, it's a hard...
And the flies coming out. And I think this is in regards to what I said earlier about chapter 6 being dead. That is on integrity and leadership. I think there have been a lot of questions about the quality of his cabinet nominees. So maybe they are a bit of a smelly cabinet.
Yeah, but as you said, he chose loyalty over competence.
Right, and they are loyal indeed. And you choose loyalty if you want effectiveness and to get the job done. So what do we think is the winning cartoon?
I will advocate for the Star.
Yes.
I feel the times Kenyans really want to hear about this Uganda thing. I think
it was a pleasant
it was
distraction.
Pleasant, it was happy, it's a good distraction.
Baby Mohozi. All right, you know
that
what?
title doesn't stick.
I agree with that completely. I say that we give the winning cartoon to the Star. So thank you so much for joining us this evening. Do not forget, you can also find us on your TV screens. We are on Pang, Free to Air, GoTV, and Star Times. Have a lovely evening, and we will see you tomorrow.